Hey everyone, Tristan back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what to look for good horsehair shoe brushes for shoe polishing and shoe shining. Not all of them are created equally, even though they're all horsehair. They do perform differently, and the cheaper ones may be a bit worse than a little bit more of an expensive one. And so let's talk about some of the differences here. First of all, the color. As you can see, the one on the left is black bristled, and the one on the right is a more natural colored bristle. You might want to get one of each because it's generally not good to use the same horsehair shoe brush that you use on dark colored shoes on light colored shoes, because what happens is over time they get a little bit inundated with polish. So for instance, if you use one that you've been using on black colored shoes on a lighter shoe, you might get some black polish on that lighter shoe, which you don't want. So it's basically good to have two. And if you get one with a dark colored bristles and one with a natural colored bristles, you'll be able to tell the difference, so that like the one that has the dark bristles you'll use on your dark shoes, the one with the natural or lighter colored bristles you'll use on your lighter colored shoes. And for me, that tends to work pretty well, so I do sort of recommend that. The other difference is the shape of these. You'll notice this one has got more of a contoured shape, so it fits real nicely in the hand, and when you're brushing your shoe it just feels real comfortable, and it just you can concentrate on certain areas easier with this one just because it has a nice contoured shape. But that's more minor because I think I can use either of these equally. Also, it's got this little groove here where your fingers can go on the handle, on the wood handle, so that's real nice and makes it quite comfortable. This one has more of a traditional just rectangular shape, and it's still quite comfortable to use and brush your shoes with, although I think the contoured one is a little bit more comfortable to use and hold. But this one also has the contour and the wood handle as well, so that's something that you definitely want to look for. Just makes it more comfortable to use over the long run. Next, let's take a look at the density of the bristles. A cheaper shoe brush is going to have a lot less horsehair bristles. So if you look through here, you can kind of see some empty spaces in there. You can kind of just see how how many bristles are in there. You can kind of see some spaces, and if you look at it, you can kind of just sort of see when you compare that this one doesn't have nearly as densely packed horsehair bristles as this one. If you look at this one up close, it's just much more densely packed. You can see when you look through it, you don't see those empty spaces all the way down to the handle, and stuff like that. So this one is definitely a better brush because it has more densely packed horsehair bristles, and that's going to perform a lot better for you. It's going to take less brush strokes to do the same amount of work with this horsehair brush than it will with this black horsehair brush. So that's something to look out for as well. And generally, the more expensive horsehair shoe brushes are going to be packed a little bit more densely than the cheaper ones. The cheaper ones will use less horsehair than the little bit more expensive ones. I mean, the performance difference between the two is sort of minor, but there is definitely a difference. So just some things to look out for in that respect. Also, the size of these is slightly different as well. I mean, they're generally the same size or almost the same size in terms of length, but this one just enables you to concentrate on certain areas when you're brushing your shoes a little bit easier, just because of the sort of contoured design. Whereas this one, if you try to concentrate on a certain area, you're also getting another area too of the shoe a little bit more. Just a minor difference on that, but something to look out for. So not all horsehair shoe brushes are created equal, and sometimes it does pay to spend a little bit more money to get a nicer horsehair shoe brush. The other comment I would make is that I've tried a large horsehair shoe brush, and I didn't like it as much because I didn't feel that it had as much control. It just wasn't as easy to sort of manipulate over the shoes, so I don't really like the large ones. These here are both about 6 inches or so, 6 or 7 inches in length, and that's pretty much the ideal size. Maybe 6 by 2 or something like that. The large ones certainly can cover more area with each brush stroke, but again, they don't have the precision, and they're not as easy to sort of manipulate around the shoe. So that's just my comment on that. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them, and I'll see you in my next video.